Welcome to Daily Dose Radio, a 5-minute devotional podcast studying the Psalms verse by verse. Broadcast from the ever-beautiful Sharonville, Ohio, on the sunny side of Cincinnati. Hey there, friends. Welcome back. You found it. This is your home for organic Bible study that's fresh and delicious. This is what we like to call the Bible Bistro. Daily Dose Radio. Come on in here. Sit down, and we're going to have us some wonderful desserts today in the Psalms. We're looking this week at Psalm 77 all week long, and we'll be studying today verses 1 through 3. But before we begin, I just need to do a little housekeeping, just to let you know that next week, the week of Christmas 2018, which is the 24th through the 28th of December, there will be no Daily Dose Radio on the air. The Bible Bistro is going to shut its doors. I'm sending all the staff home, giving them the week off for Christmas. So no Daily Dose Radio next week. We'll come back the first week of January, December 31 through January, the 4th? Yeah, January 4, and we'll study Psalm 78 on that week. But next week, no Daily Dose Radio. Bible Bistro is going to shut the doors and lock everything up. We're going to have a Christmas party, but that'll be about it. I hope that you will come back the first week of January and listen in to Daily Dose Radio as we look at Psalm 78. This week, however, we've got a dandy before us. We've got Psalm 77. This is a whole lot like Psalm 73. You'll see that as we go through here. It's not exactly, because he's not complaining about the rich man or the man who's wealthy and wicked. This time, he's complaining about his own trouble, and he wants to know where God is in the midst of his own trouble. So let's just begin with verses 1 through 3 today. You'll notice, as you look at the overall structure of the psalm, that it's nicely divided into 4 parts by 3 selahs. You have a selah at the end of verse 3, one at the end of verse 9, and one at the end of verse 15. So you end up with these 4 portions of the psalm. The selah positioned after verse 3 is the first one, and that sort of gives us the overall idea about what we're going to be talking about. This is the opening section, verses 1 through 3. We really get into the details beginning in verse 4. In verses 4 through 9, 6 verses, and then we have a selah. 10 through 15, we have 6 verses and a selah. And then 16 through 20, we have 5 verses that end out the psalm. So you notice it's very nicely divided into these 4 different sections. So today we're going to do the first section, which is verses 1, 2, and 3. I cried unto God with my voice, even unto God with my voice, and he gave ear unto me. In the day of my trouble I sought the Lord. My sore ran in the night, and ceased not. My soul refused to be comforted. I remembered God, and was troubled. I complained, and my spirit was overwhelmed. Selah. So this opens up for us the idea of what's happening here. We have a sick man. He's trying to address the Lord about his sickness, and he does, going on in 4 through 9. We'll talk about that tomorrow. But you'll notice there's some very important things here. First of all, the promise of prayer is still kept. I cried unto God with my voice, even unto God with my voice, and he gave ear to me. So the promise of God hearing our prayer is very consistent here. God hears our complaints. He hears our prayers. In the day of trouble I sought the Lord. Is there not a better time to seek the Lord? But you know, a lot of people find themselves in a day of trouble. And when they do, that's when they really get down to business with the Lord. And that's a good thing. I've pastored churches now for nearly 30 years, and I've helped a lot of people who have found themselves in some very serious trouble. And you know what they always are looking for? They're looking for help from the Lord. Because in the day of trouble, it's just natural for us to come seeking him. And guess what? When we come to him in the day of trouble, his ear is just as open as it was the day before trouble. My sore ran in the night. This reminded me of Psalm 38. In verse 11, he talked about his sore that was running and how it kept his friends away. We talked about what could have been David's disease, or there was some sickness or something that was going on. Well, David's not the one writing this. This is a psalm of Asaph. So maybe this sore is different. Perhaps this is a sore, spiritual sore that's running in his heart. Probably that's the case, because he goes on to say, my soul refused to be comforted. And you know that this is Hebrew parallelism, although what we have here, in the day of trouble I sought the Lord, my soul ran in the night and ceased not, my soul refused to be comforted, all there in verse 2. So we have this trifold repeat, and the sore and the soul are parallel. In verse 3, I remembered God and was troubled. I complained. He's troubled because nothing's come around for the answer yet. And so we're going to look tomorrow at the complaint. I complained and my spirit was overwhelmed, Selah. So I remembered God and I'm troubled because my prayer has not been answered, and so I complained. And we're going to find out what his complaint is. And he asks some very pointed questions there in verses 7 through 9. We'll read all that tomorrow. I hope you'll join me then on Daily Dose Radio. Thanks for listening to Daily Dose Radio. I'm David Smith. The music today has been performed by the Bluegrass Experiment. Thanks again for listening. I'll see you next time on Daily Dose Radio.